Hi everyone, Chris here with another video of recent New Zealand vinyl releases. A few things I think are notable from the last couple of months. I know it's been a while since my last video. So first up, I'm not sure if you can hear this playing in the background. This is from Dunedin label WaihekeRecords. They haven't put out a record for a while, and basically anything they put out, it's one of those labels that you can pick it up and be confident you're going to get a great record. So they've put out records by bands such as Mountain Eater, Idiot Prayer, On and On. There's a couple of others as well, and they're all worth picking up. And this is the latest release after quite a long hiatus from the label. It's from a band called Triumphs, a duo from Dunedin, a heavy instrumental album, and it's based around a concept around Sir Edmund Hillary. Here he is here in Sherpa Tenzing, and their ascent of Mount Everest. It's called Beekeeper Bastard Knocker, referring to Edmund Hillary's occupation as a beekeeper, and then his famous statement about knocking the bastard off once they'd reached the top of Everest. And it's a great listen from Triumphs. A self-released LP, which I think is worth talking about because I'm not sure how the band managed to do it for this cost. You know, many of us dismayed by the price of new vinyl, but this band Jackal for the second time have put out a self-released LP at a really cheap price. This album Sparkle was their second. It's quite different from their first, Castles in the Air, and what was it, Castles in the Sky. But the first perhaps a little heavier. This one a bit more mellow but kind of kind of indie guitar rock. And I'm really impressed with this album actually. But one of the things that's notable about it is they're putting this out with a CD, including postage, for 20 New Zealand dollars, which is incredible. And they did the same with their first one as well. So you can pick this up and the Triumphs. You'll find both of those by searching up the band's Bandcamp pages. Not a new record, well it is actually a new copy of this record, but it was released 25 years ago in 1990. I was lucky enough to pick up this copy of Chris Knox's Croaker. It's brand new, it's been in storage since its release date, never played, and so as I say, brand new. This was released on Flying Nun in 1990. It's got the inner sleeve there with the lyrics. Chris Knox solo LP. There's some great songs on here like Meat and Song of the Only Child and so on. It's typical Chris Knox solo, him, his beatbox, his guitar, but what amazing songwriting and incredible delivery. There's a great cover on this as well, so that was a really lucky find. A few records I think are notable for some of their cover artwork, as well as the music inside as well. But this one here, this is the new album from Girls Pissing on Girls Pissing. I'll read you the title, Scrying in Infirmary Architecture. I'm a real fan of this band. I think they've kind of got this unique kind of sound. There's saxophone through this, there's some kind of mildly 70s-like sax solos at places, but they've kind of got this off-kilter sound that's kind of hard to describe, which kind of gives it this kind of dark, not really menacing, but just kind of this dark undercurrent. But there's also some great kind of popish melodies, I think, in here as well. And but you kind of get a sense from this cover artwork that it's all not sweetness and light. That there's a kind of a psychedelic, hallucinogenic kind of edge to this music. Great gatefold sleeve, and they've also got this amazing booklet that comes with it, full of with the lyrics, but also great artwork, kind of along the same vein as that on the cover. This is on Muso Records, another label which has been consistently putting out great music and doing some great vinyl releases over the last couple of years. Right, this is Silicon Personal Computer, the new album from Cody Nielsen. So I was lucky enough to chat to Cody Nielsen just the other day at the Silver Scroll Music Awards, where he was nominated for a song which is on his brother's album, Unknown Mortal Orchestra Multi-Love, but also talked about Silicon with him. And there is some, I think, some similar influences behind the latest Unknown Mortal Orchestra and Silicon, although as Cody Nielsen said, and you can hear that interview on my latest radio show, the instrumentation is different, but maybe that kind of funk interest comes through in here. So this is mostly kind of electronic kind of keys based album, and it's a long way from the Mint Chicks. I just wanted to show, this is the I think they're calling it the Deluxe Edition, but you've only got this lemon sleeve, yellow vinyl, and also the book, which takes the theme of the cover art, and is, I think there's 24, and these are reproductions of paintings from Cody Nielsen. One of the songs in the album is called Emoji, and taking that theme throughout there. This is why we like LPs, eh? It's this huge, amazing, big, glossy art book that goes with it. So that's Silicon Personal Computer. I also wanted to mention this, which I've only just got. Really listen to that. Well, actually, it's Yumizuma, and it's a compilation of 2 EPs. And the 2 EPs, which are Cascade Records, so you've got this kind of silk-screened cardboard outer, and then they've done, I don't know if you'll be able to see this or not, but take that off there. Then the name of the band, Yumizuma, is embossed into the front there. The 2 EPs plus 1 unreleased track compiled on this, and also, so you've got, so here's the cover of the first EP, or they were 10-inch EPs but reproduced to 12 inches here, and the cover of the second EP, and there's 500 that are pressed up on this great blue splatter vinyl. I really like this kind of way of mixing vinyl. I've got a few that do this with the haze in the middle there. Looks amazing. Right, now a few kind of experimental releases, and these are all old recordings that have been released for the first time on vinyl. 3 records here from a label from Italy called Planum. It's Planam, and so they've released this, Witticist, 1995. I think that's when it was recorded, but getting its first vinyl releases now. So this is 2 side-length kind of noise experimental pieces. Then we've got a Pumice LP from, I think, 2000 and, well, it's recorded in the late 90s, but first vinyl release of this. And yeah, kind of, if you're familiar with Pumice's music, this is the kind of, you'll know what you're in for here. It's kind of not, it's probably something for the completists rather than an essential LP by Pumice, but it's interesting, and I think kind of points the way towards some of the things we love in later LPs like Pebbles and so on. And also from Stefan Neville, who's a member of Pumice, is this, the Ideal Gus 99, which is more experimental and kind of more strange and fragmentary. And this is great packaging though. It's got all these little bits that are all sitting in the sleeve here, excerpts from manuals that have been stamped, drawings, and little printed bits and so on clear acetate and on cardboard. This is the Ideal Gus. And finally, another experimental album, but this is extraordinary. And it's not often you go into a record shop and you're surprised. You know, you kind of, nowadays you kind of tend to know what's coming up. But I went into Audio Foundation, found this. It's the first vinyl release on a label called Rattle, who specialise in New Zealand jazz and experimental music. And this is a record put together by Richard Nuns, who plays Māori traditional instruments, taonga pilda, and Mark Lockett, who's percussionist and drummer. Not credited on the title, although I'm not sure why. It's Jeff Henderson, who contributes a whole lot of other sounds in here and other instrumentation. It started off as a soundtrack for an art exhibition, and now on this great cover artwork on here. I was being asked for a recommendation for some New Zealand experimental music, and I pointed them to this. It's uniquely New Zealand with that Talma Porter, but you know, some of the tracks, two lengthier tracks on the B side, kind of moving more towards the kind of drone kind of area, and on the A side perhaps a little more kind of jazz influenced, but kind of experimental kind of jazz. So that's Redaction by Richard Nunns and Mark Lockett. If you're into experimental New Zealand music, I highly recommend that. Thanks for watching. As always, you can catch up on radio shows, videos, what I'm listening to and so on facebook.com/countingthebeat or the website countingthebeat.gen.nz. Cheers.